Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Love Yourself to Health podcast. My name is Alyssa, and I'll be here each week teaching you how to build a body that you genuinely love. As women, we have been taught so much misinformation about what our bodies should look like, how we should eat, and how we should work out. And I'm here to dispel all the myths and to teach you how to feel better, eat more without gaining weight, and to build a toned, lean, feminine physique, all without dieting, endless hours of cardio, or beating yourself up for getting off track. Here, we're all about treating our bodies with love and respect, and of course, having fun along the way. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. So today we have a special episode for you guys, and actually we will be for the rest of this week. So I know we had been talking about the Results Guaranteed Bootcamp, and you guys got to listen in to the bonus trainings, and we have since decided to actually upload the whole darn thing. So all of this week, all of the trainings from the bootcamp are going to be uploaded here onto the podcast as well. Now, if you do want to participate even more, if you want to get access to the worksheets, to the slideshow, to, some feedback from your coaches, myself, Alyssa, and Ariya, and if you want to be entered to win any of the prizes, then you will need to sign up for the bootcamp, and the link will be in the description below. You'll get a welcome email, you'll get an invitation to the Facebook group, and you'll be getting the emails every day that has links to all of the stuff you need to participate even more in the bootcamp. So for now, this is just the trainings for you, and if you want more, and if you want to be entered to win the prizes, then just click the link below and you can get in. So the prizes, I'll just quickly let you in on what those are. If you show up every day to the bootcamp, you will get a bonus module from each of the courses that we have in Transformation Academy. So you'll get one from the nutrition course, which is all about getting in tune with your hunger signals. You'll get one from the mindset course, which is how to set goals. And then you'll get one from the program design course, which is all about how to get the most out of your workouts. So you get that just for showing up every day to the bootcamp and posting your homework and filling in the worksheet and all of that good stuff. And we will be drawing that next Friday, so I believe the 25th of March. And then if you show up every day, you get that automatically. Plus, you'll be entered to win the grand prize, which is a coaching call with myself, Alyssa, a coaching call with Ariya, 2 weeks in Transformation Academy, and also access to Ariya's bonus mini mindset course. So that is what is going on in this bootcamp. You still have time to get in and take advantage of everything. But for now, have a listen, and I hope you enjoy. Today, we are talking all about how to prime your mind for success. And Ariya is going to start us off.
Okay, so yeah, like Alyssa just said, we're going to be talking about how to prime your mind for success. So research shows that when you're tough on yourself, it actually does the exact opposite effect of what you want it to do. So when you're beating yourself up for not doing what you're supposed to do, or not showing up or not going to the gym, it actually does the exact opposite thing for you. Beating yourself up is demotivating, and it often leaves you feeling like discouraged or defeated. So starting out by clearing out old patterns and replacing them with something that you actually want to feel is the next step in developing those beliefs that are really going to get you to your goals. So creating positive beliefs starts with forgiving yourself. And I know that sounds kind of like silly, but that's really the beginning of that. So for example, how you speak about or to think about past events should not stop you from taking action now. So a past event can be a year ago, a month ago, or even yesterday. So it doesn't matter what you did yesterday or what you did not do yesterday. That should not determine how you're going to show up for yourself today. Okay. So achieving your future really starts with forgiving yourself and anyone else that you feel like was preventing you from moving forward. And usually it's yourself, realistically, if you're actually, if you have that conscious awareness of the things that you have control over, right? You know that like you're the one responsible for taking those action steps and developing that awareness piece. But also similarly, you can't compare yourself to past versions of yourself that you think that was more successful, right? So maybe a year ago, you lost 20 pounds and you felt great and everything felt good, like working out felt good, eating like right felt good. And now you're beating yourself up for how you fell off the bandwagon, how you just slipped down this slope and you know what, you're stuck down there and you feel like you can never get back up, right? Like you can't be comparing yourself, either a past version of yourself that you feel shameful of or that you did really well and now you feel like you can't get back to that point. So really starting off with a blank slate is really important in developing those new beliefs.
I think another point on that there is your memory of what happened back then may not actually be the truth. So as much as you feel like you were doing super, super well back then, you're probably just focusing on the good things that you can remember and forgetting all of the challenging times as well. And I think forgetting that honestly, it probably wasn't as much different from what you've got going on now as you think it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So a bit like the first step is really recognizing those negative thoughts. And then we're going to talk about going forward and releasing those thoughts. But next we're going to speak about gratitude, because forgiving yourself and then moving on to gratitude is super, super important. So you use gratitude to help really get you more present in the moment. Whereas like forgiving yourself for past mistakes, you're either living in the past or fearing the future, right? And gratitude allows you to live in the present moment. And I think that's really important, especially with goal setting, is sometimes we're so worried about getting over there that we forget what we need to do right now. So gratitude brings you back down to earth, and you can really actually start working on getting to your goals. So you use gratitude to live in the present moment when doubts arise or when negative beliefs come to mind. Gratitude makes it a lot easier for you to see opportunities. If you're grateful for the small things that are coming up, you're going to see so many opportunities, right? But if you're always viewing like anything like as a negative, right? Like you can take one experience and flip it as something that's positive or negative, depending on your mindset, your approach, right? So using gratitude, it's really easy to flip it to the positive side. And also gratitude boosts happiness and fosters both physical and psychological health. And it also helps to curb negative emotions by shifting your attention to something that is positive. That's what gratitude does. And it also reduces the possibility of you returning to those old patterns, because you recognize where you're at now and you understand that there was a pattern that got you to where you are now. And there's an appreciation of that process that it took you to get to where you are now. And then the last part is really about taking action, because positive thinking alone is not enough. You need to take action to prove to yourself and to really solidify that belief.
Yeah, I think that's a big piece that can sometimes get missed, for sure. You can't just think about it, gotta actually do it.
When you love yourself, you will inevitably do the things that you love. And when you celebrate yourself, you will do things worth celebrating. So practicing gratitude is a really easy way for you to experience more of those positive emotions and feelings. And then obviously people on Instagram can't see right now, but there's a slide that's showing different things that you can be grateful for. So like people who support you, maybe a healthy body, a good night's sleep, or new adventures. Alyssa has this great way to approach gratitude. Do you want to explain a little bit of that?
Yeah, so when I practice gratitude or teach on practicing gratitude, I like to go about it in a way where you want to focus on things you're grateful for that you have created in your own life. So instead of just being grateful for like having running water or, very like things that you haven't really created for yourself, but are more so things that you're privileged to have. If you instead focus on what you have created for yourself, that just reminds you of all of the things that you can do and that you are capable of doing and that you can create things for yourself. So something like even simple things like I'm grateful that I made my bed this morning, or I'm grateful for, choosing to live in this city, right? You didn't just happen to live in the city, even if you were born here, right? You have at some point in your life decided that you're going to stay here or that you're going to move here, right? That has been an active decision that you have made in your life to create that result, right? So to kind of get in the mindset of like the things that I have in my life that I appreciate, that I'm grateful for, are here because I created that. And that's just a really powerful mindset to be in. And it just reminds you, oh yeah, I actually can like have some control over what's going on in my life, especially with the good things.
And like you had mentioned this before, because I was just starting to practice gratitude at this one point. And sometimes it's not beneficial for your mental health or wellness to like state things like running water or whatever the case, because then you start to feel guilty for not feeling grateful for that thing, right? Like that sometimes that doesn't help you get out of that slump. You're like, I should feel really grateful that I have all these like amazing relationships around me and I have a job and I'm able to pay my bills, but that's just not enough sometimes, right? So to really like look more inward and see what you're actually really doing for yourself in that meaningful way is a little bit more productive.
Yeah, and it depends like what you're trying to get yourself to do. Because if you're just trying to just feel good in general after like a really bad day, I mean, maybe just focusing on basically anything that makes you feel good is fine.
Yeah.
But if you're really trying to get yourself into a headspace of, I've got big goals that I'm working towards, I'm starting to feel like they're really scary and I'm not sure if I can reach them. And then that's a really good time to practice the gratitude for things you've already created for yourselves and just be like, remember, like these are the things that you've been able to do. And you created this life for yourself. And that's really amazing. And that means that you can create more.
Exactly. Next, we're going to be talking about creating new belief patterns. Okay. So negative thoughts will appear. That's inevitable. You can't stop them from happening. Okay. But if you can choose what you think about, you can also choose what you don't want to think about, what is not going to occupy your mind. So when a negative thought arises, you can use these 5 powerful words to interrupt that thought. And what that is I'm not thinking about that. So when a thought comes up as I always screw everything up, I'm such a failure, you give recognition to that thought, awareness. Oh, this thought is coming up. Like, why am I feeling this? Okay, I'm going to let that thought linger, and then I'm just going to really release that thought, because I think you can't just like, what's the word, ignore it. You need to recognize it, but then you need to make that active choice to like not continue to think about it, right? You can have it, but if you think about it for 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes, that's not productive, right? And the really cool thing is to what's the word, like 2 different thoughts, like very like a positive and a negative thought, cannot occupy your headspace at once. It's just impossible. So that's why it's really helpful to have a thought that you can have, or a mantra or an affirmation that you can tell yourself to replace that negative thought. And we're going to talk about that a little bit further on into the bootcamp today. But that's a really interesting thing, how your brain works like that. It can't compute those 2 things at once. Gratitude. So that's the next part. So creating a new thought pattern starts with making a choice that you're not going to think about it, replacing that belief with a new belief, and then practicing gratitude. So gratitude really unshackles us from all those toxic emotions and prevents us from seeing the good. So gratitude really just expands our perspective and removes any limiting belief blinders that we might have on. So an example of that is, I'm grateful for all of the lessons I've learned. That's a pretty easy one to believe about yourself, right? So you might believe that you're a failure, but you can be grateful for the mistakes that you made and where you've come and how much you've learned from those mistakes. And I like you can't be an expert without failing. I think that people get caught up in that so often, is act like the person you want to become. So one of the most effective ways to change your opinion of yourself is by acting like the person you want to become. So your brain will start to create those neural connections that will support the belief. That will only occur when you're actually taking those action steps, though. You can't just be doing the belief piece. You have to be following up with the action, because the actions and the belief will elicit this positive emotion, which will then solidify the belief. They all kind of go in this roundabout kind of loop. But that just goes to say that you can't talk your way out of old beliefs. You have to do the action piece as well.
Yeah, they all work together. The
Yes.
beliefs are going to make it easier for you to actually take the action. And then the actions are going to reinforce those beliefs. So you got to start somewhere, whether it's easier for you to start with the action piece or whether it's easier for you to start with the belief piece. You got to start with one of them or both. And they're both going to help the other get stronger. And another thing on gratitude is that gratitude is, I like to think of gratitude as more just like a way of living your life in general. So not necessarily as just like, it has to be like a practice where you write down things you are grateful for, but more so as like just a way to live your life, where everything, as much as you can, you always go about with a mindset of gratefulness. So just anything that happens in your life, just really trying to just genuinely enjoy everything that goes on in your life and just be grateful for everything that happens. And, sometimes it does take doing a daily practice of gratitude, like writing down everything you're grateful for, or just saying it out loud. But once you kind of get into that habit, a lot of times it can just start to change how you generally view your life. Like in general, it can start to change how you see everything. Instead of having to really do that practice every day, now your brain has kind of gotten used to thinking about life in that way, right?
Absolutely. And like gratitude is very contagious, right? Like when you're expressing gratitude to someone, like it feels really good, and then they go and express gratitude to someone else or to themselves. Like it's a really good way to strengthen your relationship with yourself and the people around you as well, because it feels good, right?
One funny thing is, actually, this was one of the big things that I really liked about my partner Dawson when we first met, is he just has such an attitude of like gratefulness for life. And like, he's not somebody who practices gratefulness, but just the way he talks about life and how much he enjoys life, like he's genuinely just like grateful for everything. And it's really nice to have a partner who's like that, and somebody in your life who views life like that. Because again, the more people you surround yourself who have like that sense of gratefulness about life, it just is so much easier for you. And then you don't get sucked into all of these negative thought patterns all the time, because you have other people in your life who are supporting that. Like, no, this is like, it's a beautiful day. Like a lot of times we'll just go for a walk and just be like, if other things are going bad in our life, you know what, whatever, it's a beautiful day. We can go out and enjoy the sunshine. We can go for a walk. We really do live in a beautiful place. It's just, there's always something to be grateful for and to be happy about and to enjoy in your life.
And like, keep in mind, like, it's kind of like the same thing when you start a hike. Like the first 5 or 10 minutes of any hike is hard, right? Like just starting off, it kind of sucks, right? It's kind of the same thing with practicing gratitude. Sometimes it can be hard to find 1 or 2 things that you're grateful for, but then once you start that hike, it gets a little bit easier, right? So once you're even able to list like 3 or 4, then all of a sudden your mind starts to like change perspective, and you're able to find more things to be grateful for. In the morning, when my I guess now fiance and I would drive into work together, I would ask him every morning, like, what are 2 things you're grateful for? He'd be like, oh man, I don't know, nothing. Like I woke up today, right? And then he would list 2 or 3, and then all of a sudden he would just keep talking about more things he was grateful for. But it was like that first, you kind of have to get over the hurdle, and then it's a lot easier because now you've changed your mindset, right? So the first couple of things might be a little bit difficult, but then once you have that momentum, it's pretty easy to continue on.
Yeah. And sometimes I like to change the phrasing of it, because I don't know, for some reason, gratefulness feels like a very woo-woo word to me. I don't know why. Just because I think it's talked about so much. But when I write out things I'm grateful for, I actually just write out I love. So I write out everything in my life that I love. I'm just like, I love Dawson. I love my kitties. I love my strong body. I love my house. I love where I live. And for me, I just find that resonates with me so much more than saying like, I'm grateful for it. I like getting in the headspace of just like, these are the things I love about my life. And for me, I feel like that's just a much easier way to approach it. And personally, it feels good for me. And that's a cool thing about all of this mindset stuff is you can change it around to where it fits better for you. Like you prefer to use the word milestones instead of goals. And I prefer to go about, you know, gratefulness as more so what do I love about my life, right? So you can totally tweak things and make it make more sense for you. You don't have to do it the way I do it or the way Ariya does it or the way other people do it. Like try different things and see, you know, what makes sense for you. You want it to feel good for you. And if certain phrasing feels weird, try something different.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're not going to continue on doing it, right? If it feels icky or weird or awkward in your body, you're not going to keep doing it. So whatever language or vocabulary you have to use in order to reinforce that belief, do that, right? It doesn't necessarily matter what I subscribe to. You can develop your own like methods behind that.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're still talking about creating new beliefs. So this is going to be in the worksheet / homework. So the first step is defining the new belief. So this will help you. Defining the new belief. So you're going to want to refer back to your goal to begin with, so that you can create a belief that will help you in achieving your goal, because they should all kind of support each other. And then what would you have to believe about yourself to reach your goal? So these are some questions that you can ask yourself in order to kind of elicit that belief that you would need. What do you want your life to look like, feel like, and sound like? So like this can also kind of be like a visualization exercise, but that would be for another time, because that's quite, there's a lot of things you can talk about with visualization.
Yeah.
And then don't forget to dream big, right? So refer back to your big goal and then have those big belief systems, even though they feel like they might feel a little bit stretchy right now. We can make them a little bit closer to where you currently are, right? So start with the big beliefs and then make it tailored to where you currently are. And then, just like we were kind of talking about before, you're going to identify the emotion, because just with a limiting belief, there's emotions such as guilt or shame or fear. With a empowering belief, there's similar emotions like enlightenment or pride or all the things, right? So you really want to identify the emotion that is going to be attached to the new belief, because that will really solidify that belief for you. So just like as a negative emotion will stop you from doing something, which is why you often fall off the bandwagon, a positive emotion will push you towards something, right? So you're either running away from something or you're running towards something. So we're really wanting to make the belief something that you're going to run towards, right? An emotion that you want to experience more of, right? Because oftentimes we're trying to escape something that doesn't feel good. So if you can really tie in that emotion piece, it makes it a little bit easier. And then a really important thing is revisiting your why, connecting the dots back to your why. So when you know what is at stake, you will be more likely to embody the beliefs necessary to get there. So this is how everything just kind of ties all in. And that's why we really spoke so much about your why statement in day 1, because it still applies to day 3 of the workshop and even day 4. So
yeah, I just wanted to touch on emotions. So when I'm trying to like do something, so whatever it is, for me, it's often procrastination and like work stuff. And when I'm trying to get myself to do something and I've got these negative thoughts going in my head, just like, I always procrastinate, I suck at this, just like whatever it is that's coming up. A lot of times the emotion behind that is like overwhelm and anxiety and nervousness. And I like to think about to myself, like, okay, when I do actually get things done, when I am actually doing what I want to do, what emotion is driving that? And for me, basically always it's excitement. So if I'm excited about something, if I'm excited to do it, it is so much easier. It basically just happens and I don't really need to force myself or put any effort in to do it. So when you're trying to get yourself to do something that you're struggling with and you really have a lot of negative thoughts and negative emotions attached to that, think about what you need to be feeling in order to make that happen. When you've done it before, what were you feeling? Or when you do things that are really easy, what emotion is behind it? And when you can really like focus in on that, then you want to kind of go backwards and create a belief or a thought that's going to help bring about that emotion, right? So a lot of times for me, it's, my why is behind this too, right? Like my why is to, reach women and to teach them how to, learn to love their bodies, learn to repair their relationship with food, to learn to love lifting weights and to feel confident in their bodies. And that is always my why and my driving. And when I want to, feel excited to get stuff done, I'm just like excited about all of the people that I could reach with this and how this training could actually like help change someone's life, right? So when you really get back to your why and then the emotion that you need in order to actually take that action, it's going to make such a huge difference in how you're going to approach it and in how it's going to feel for you. And it's going to be so much easier to do things from that place. And goodness, I have to remind myself of that very often. But again, like even just saying that now, I'm just like, yeah, you got to remind yourself of that, Alyssa. Like that is why you're doing this. That is, what you need to feel going into this. And it just makes things so much easier.
Yeah, because you can't just be waiting for the result to create that emotion for you. Like if you already know what that feeling is going to be, like why not just start feeling that way right now? Like why do you have to wait until a later date in order to feel confident or whatever the feeling that you want to have? Like start feeling that now. Start doing those daily practices now to elicit that emotion, to reinforce the belief in order for you to take that action. So like you don't have to wait. You don't have to delay this. Like a lot of time we speak about delaying gratification, like delaying the things that you kind of want to enjoy now, just so you can have a bigger, like a better outcome later on. Right. A lot of time we speak about that. This is the exact opposite. You want to be feeling all those good feelings right now in order to propel you into the future.
Yeah. And like, I'll give an example for confidence, just because I feel a lot of people who want to increase their confidence don't really know how. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I need to be like 20 pounds lighter in order to feel confident. That's not true. One of the best ways is to go shopping and to find clothes that genuinely like fit you well right now. Okay. You don't need to go shopping after you lose all the weight or whatever. Find clothes that fit you well now that you genuinely feel amazing in, and you'll be surprised how big of a difference this makes. And I've done this with so many of my clients. Like we've gone on shopping sprees together or they've gone on their own, and every single one who has done this, it's just made a world of difference in their confidence. And then in like what they do in their day-to-day life, like they put on a cute outfit for the day and all of a sudden they're showing up and doing all the things that they wanted to do just because they're feeling better in their skin, right? And that can easily come just from going out shopping and getting some clothes that actually fit your body now, instead of trying to fit into things that used to fit you, or whatever it is, or just like your like fat clothes or whatever people do. Like stop doing that. Buy yourself clothes that fit you now and feel good now. Okay. You deserve to feel good.
And yeah, like that, just a reminder of that specific example. If there's something in your closet that does not fit you right now, but you love that item, like put it in a suitcase, keep it, but don't have it hanging up in the closet maybe, because like sometimes that can be a little bit of a reminder, like just, you know what I mean, right? Like, so really tailor your environment to promote those beliefs and those feelings that you want to feel. So if having
I give them away to people who are close to me that I care about, because I know I'm not going to fit them anymore. Like I have some clothes that I sewed in high school. I have some dresses that I spent a lot of money on. So I've given them to actually both of my brother's girlfriends. Because
cool.
Because they're people who matter to me. And it makes me happy to see them enjoying the clothes that I used to enjoy, that I know I'm not going to fit anymore, but I still love them. So it makes me happy to see other people enjoying them.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, a little tangent there, but
I know.
The stuff's important too.
So I feel like we kind of touched on this one slide. Should I just say the thing and then move on to the next
and then
one?
we'll go next. Yeah.
Okay, so affirmations will redirect your thoughts and create new neural networks by activating your brain's reward system. We kind of touched on this, but basically what it is that when something feels good, you're more likely to continue to do it, right? When something feels bad, you're going to stop doing it. So by having those positive beliefs and good feelings, you're more likely to activate the reward system and make it a lot easier to develop those habits to maintain those beliefs and actions, is basically kind of how all that intertwines with one another, and really kind of getting that dopamine hit, that feel good hormone, and that's really going to help you in achieving your goals.
Mm-hmm.
So positive beliefs. So with the right set of beliefs, you can create a roadmap to reach your goals. And then affirmations and mantras. Positive thoughts and emotions attract more of the same. So if you use affirmations, you can use affirmations to manifest your goals quicker. Manifest is just to have your goals get realized quicker. Like manifest doesn't actually have to mean any like woo-woo stuff.
It just means it happened.
Yeah, exactly. But affirmations need to be repeated daily in order to have any sort of effect. And that effect is actually on a cellular level in your brain. And what happens is these affirmations actually bypass, and this is going to be like a little scientific, but I'm not going to go too much into it. It actually bypasses like your consciousness, like your conscious thought, like what you actually like are aware of thinking, and it goes right to your subconscious mind. And what that does for you is it reprograms all the kind of like, it does all the back end work for you essentially, right? And those are very automated things, right? So oftentimes we're going to revert back to old behaviors because our subconscious has been programmed to have you return to those, right? But what affirmations does is it goes into your subconscious mind, does that reprogramming for you, and now these things that you're having to more, that you previously had to be a little bit more conscious of, like gratitude, affirmations, a positive thinking, are a little bit more automated. So now that's going to be your default, which is kind of interesting how that actually all works. And now it doesn't require as much conscious intervention, but you still have to show up for yourself. It still is a daily practice, but you can actually rewire those neural networks in your brain to work for you so that you don't have to do as much work for yourself. But you have to start doing the work is the catch.
Always.
Yeah. And then we've kind of touched on this before, reinforcing the beliefs. So I guess we kind of already touched about that. Yeah, just that emotions are exceptionally powerful and really use them to your advantage. And then on this slide, we just have a list of some affirmations. So these should be individual to you. Sometimes people like to use apps. That's great. That's a good starting point. But the affirmations are really only going to work if they're specific to where you are currently and if they feel right to you. So the next slide is actually going to go over a little bit of how to create those affirmations, but Alyssa created an amazing worksheet. So she'll probably go a little bit more in depth than what I can right now.
Sure. And I think it's good to kind of go through a few of these examples again for the people who are listening or watching back on Instagram. So basically affirmations are just sentences that you say in your head to like create a belief, right? Mm-hmm. So something like, I deserve to feel good. I have my own back. This feeling is temporary. I focus on what I can control. I am a strong woman. I'm a good mom, things like this. So things that you want to believe about yourself. And the most important thing with affirmations, as you said, is that they're unique to you and that you genuinely believe them and they create that feeling that you want to create. So if you're trying to convince yourself, like, I love my body, I have a sexy body, and you don't believe that, it's just going to feel like, yeah, but that's not true. Like, and that's not going to make you feel how you want to feel, right? You're saying that because you want to feel confident. But if that doesn't create confidence for you, you got to choose something else. You got to get closer to where you are now. Basically, we just want to move away from the negative thoughts and into either neutral or positive. And neutral could just be like, I have a body, and you could just start there. And then as you get comfortable with that one, then you can start changing it like a little bit. Like maybe I can look cute sometimes, right?
Mhm.
Or I look really good in these jeans, or I have a really nice smile, or whatever it is. And like slowly build your way to where you really want to be.
Mhm. Because like, yes, like you kind of said, if you're telling yourself like I'm beautiful and you really don't feel like that, that's kind of only going to reinforce that belief that you actually have about yourself when you're
Mm-hmm.
kind of trying to force that belief upon yourself. If you don't feel beautiful, that's okay. Maybe use a different word. Maybe beautiful is not a word that is going to resonate with you right now. That's totally okay. So you can like what you said, just really tailor those affirmations for yourself to work, because yeah, you don't want to feel like you're forcing yourself into something like that. And like a lot of the time, like we're kind of touching on what's on this slide right now. It's just speaking to affirmations, and then checking in with yourself to basically see if the affirmation really fits you.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you're saying that affirmation, like see if your mind tries to come up with like a million reasons why that affirmation doesn't work for you. And if that's coming up for you, scrap it. Just scrap it. Don't try to force it. Scrap it. Start again on a new affirmation,
Yeah.
because it really should want to make you jump up and take action right now. It should make you want to feel inspired and motivated and all the things, and not disempowered or shameful of where you currently are. Is a massive piece, because I think people try to fit themselves into this, like forcing something like that upon themselves, just in
Like
the
I
hopes that
should
it's
be feeling
gonna,
like this.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's just, it feels icky. It doesn't feel good. I think that's pretty much that's it for today, actually. um
So how do you practice affirmations?
well, actually, right, I am reading this book right now, and it's suggesting to attach your affirmations to something that is a little bit weird or unusual, because you will start to make, how is it work? So right now I have a sticky note. What does it say? It's something about living in the present moment, because a lot of the time I fear about the future, or I ruminate about what happened in the past. So there's a sticky note about being in the present moment, and I have it taped to my toothbrush.
Nice.
Just as like I've started to attach it onto other things, because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the time if I'm just journaling about affirmations or the things that I want to believe, it just kind of feels very forced. So if I
Mm-hmm.
find a way to kind of incorporate it into my day-to-day life, or kind of have those quick like reminders, because you just kind of live on autopilot. So that's something I'm doing right now, is I'm trying to find like weird places to put my affirmations, because you like, even that, like that emotion of just like feeling kind of weird and goofy, like that's a positive emotion, right? So now you're
Mm-hmm.
starting to make all these like weird associations, and it's going to be memorable, which is also important.
That's fun. Yeah, I have one on my computer that just says make it fun,
Yeah.
because I know I always do well when I'm enjoying what I'm doing and I'm having fun with it, and I can make everything fun.
Yes.
And then I have sticky notes like around my desk. Um, I think I had them on my phone for a while. Like there's a lot of different ways to practice affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
There's an app I use called My Affirmations, and I think it's only on Android, but you can put in your own affirmations. You can record yourself saying them,
Mm.
and then you can have it like automatically always have one running along the top of your phone. So I very much enjoyed having that. And sometimes I would just like on my way to work, just start playing myself talking, saying my
Mm-hmm.
affirmations to myself, and just like leaving a long pause between each one to allow myself a little bit of time to like really think about it and really sit with it and really like believe it. Another thing you can do is again just like write them out. I feel like that one feels a little forced, and if I'm writing, I would just freestyle instead of trying to write a specific list over and over again. I would just write anything I could think of, because then again it gets you creating in your mind
Mm-hmm.
good things about yourself that you believe about yourself.
You could probably even do visual affirmations without words. Like if you were to kind of do like not quite a vision board, but like an affirmation board of all of the images of the things that you want to feel, or believe about yourself, like that. Like our brain really likes imagery, so
Mhm.
that would be a really good like way to solidify that belief or that affirmation, and to make it fun, right? Because like it's hard to connect with a word, but if you can connect with an image and how that image, like what kind of feeling that image like creates in yourself, like that would be like kind of powerful. I just thought of that. So I don't know if there's any
Interesting.
basis behind that, but
Yeah, whatever works for you. I mean, like we all have different ways of doing things. And I know one of my clients in Transformation Academy, she just, so she has a little daughter. She's a little baby. And she's a very crafty girl. So we were talking about affirmations, and she had the idea of making it into a storybook for her little baby. So she's going to make like a little storybook, and it's just, she came up with a really sweet rhyme. I can't remember what it is right now, but just saying like, we're going to practice saying these nice things to ourselves every day. And then she just made a huge list of affirmations, and it's going to be something that she can like always add on to. So now, instead of just feeling like she has to practice her affirmations every day, now it's a part of her and her daughter's daily routine. So she gets to read this book to her and practice her affirmations and just make it like a really magical thing. And then she gets to create these amazing memories and have this book forever and to look back on. And I think that's just so special. And that just made me so happy when she told me about that. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, you absolutely have to make things unique to you and make it work with your life. And yeah, that was a very, very special one that I was excited to hear about.
I love that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so there's lots of different ways to practice your affirmations. And again, affirmations, gratitudes, beliefs, things like this. It's all just about getting your brain to practice thinking more positively, really, right? Yeah. And there's many different ways to go about it, and just finding what works best for you and finding a way to incorporate it into your everyday life so that when you're running on autopilot, you're starting to retrain your brain to run a bit more on the positive side of autopilot. But yeah. And what is the homework for today?
Okay, so for today's homework, so what I want you guys to be doing is posting one belief or thought that will support you in reaching your goal. Okay, and then I want you to also post one affirmation that will reinforce that belief. So that's all the homework that you have to do today. I also have some reflection questions on there that I've already kind of touched on, such as like, what do you want your life to feel like, look like, sound like? What would you have to believe about yourself in order to reach your goal? And how do you want to feel about yourself? So that can, like, those are just like some reflection questions that you can ask yourself before answering the 2 homework questions about what belief do you need to have in order to reach your goals, and what affirmation can you develop in order to reinforce that belief.
Cool. Okay, so if you are in the group already, in the bootcamp already, you know what's going on. You know to post your homework underneath today's post, and you'll have the links to the worksheets and the slides and everything. If you are listening on the podcast or on Instagram, you still have time to get into the bootcamp. We've got until next Friday, so the 25th, to get everything done and be entered to win the prizes. So there's, if you show up every day, if you watch the training, if you do the homework, that's basically all you have to do every day, all 5 days. You will get $150 worth of course material from Transformation Academy. So you'll get access to a module from the program design, from nutrition, and from mindset. So there's one on goal setting, there's one on getting in tune with your hunger signals, and one on getting the most out of your workouts. So you'll get that 100% for free just by showing up to the bootcamp and participating every day. And then at the end, we'll also be doing a draw for a grand prize, which is $750 worth of coaching between myself and Ariya. So you'll get 2 weeks in Transformation Academy. You'll get a coaching call with myself, a coaching call with Ariya, and then access to Ariya's mini mindset course that she's got going. So yeah, lots of amazing things. We did want to, share this on the podcast and on Instagram, just so you guys can, listen into what's going on and kind of share in all of the trainings and whatnot. But yeah, if you want to get a little bit more out of it, if you want to be able to win some prizes, sign up for the bootcamp. It's under both of our bios. The links are everywhere in the description under the podcast. Yeah, so I think that's all we have for today. Tomorrow we're going over confidence, right?
Yeah.
And then Friday will be the last day putting it all together. So we're halfway through. And yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you so much for listening in today. I'm so incredibly grateful that you took the time out of your day to listen and to support my podcast. If you're ready to feel the best you've ever felt, I would absolutely love to work with you. I have quite a few offers available, from nutrition audits to teaching you how to design your own workouts to group and private one-on-one coaching. Be sure to check out the link in the show notes or go to linktr.ee/alydaws. So that's linktr.ee/alydaws to see what I have available right now. I love chatting with you, so don't hesitate to email or reach out on Instagram if you have any questions whatsoever. Have an incredible week, my friend, and we will chat soon.